When it comes to Omega Force, one of the developers under Koei Tecmo, two iconic series tend to come to mind to a lot of people. One is the Dynasty Warriors series, a hack and slash set in China during the later Han Dynasty and Three Kingdoms period from the late 100s to late 200s AD. The other is the Samurai Warriors series, a hack and slash set in Japan during the latter part of the Sengoku or Warring States period from the mid 1500s to early 1600s. But what if the warriors from both of these series teamed up to fight one another or against a common enemy? This is where the Warriors Orochi series comes in. Bypassing the laws of time and space, the Warriors Orochi games have the warriors of the Three Kingdoms and Warring States fight against one another before finally teaming up against the Serpent King Orochi and his demon army. But why am I covering Warriors Orochi 3 of all games? The game originally came out in 2011 and it received subsequent revisions such as Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper for the Wii U and Ultimate for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, up until 2017 when Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate was released for the Switch in Japan only. Hell, we've even had Warriors Orochi 4 in its Ultimate Edition releasing in 2018 and 2019/2020 respectively. Well, Koei Tecmo have suddenly out of the blue decided to release a definitive edition of Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate, appropriately titled Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate Definitive Edition recently for PC. This PC version has over 500 pieces of DLC included, as well as some additional settings and mouse and keyboard support, though I'm more at home with a controller. To avoid confusion, Warriors Orochi 3 is called Warriors Orochi 2 in Japan, as our version of Warriors Orochi 2 on the PS2 was considered like a second part of the story for Japan, as opposed to a sequel. So I'll be going with the worldwide naming convention and pronouncing names in this game as they appear in it. For transparency, a copy of this game was provided to me courtesy of the publisher. Warriors Orochi 3 takes place in what seems to be the worst possible outcome for our heroes. After the events of Warriors Orochi 2, the warriors of both the Three Kingdoms and Warring States coexist in the land. However, the land soon becomes under attack by the Hydra, a multi-headed snake creature, as well as Orochi's forces and commanders. Most of our heroes have either been killed or put under mind control by Orochi's forces, and the last pocket of resistance are led by Sima Zhao, the younger son of famed Wei strategist Sima Yi, the Shu warrior Ma Chao, and renowned strategist Hanbei Takanaka. They launch a last-ditch effort against the Hydra with disastrous results, as they can barely hurt the Hydra, and without their allies they are effectively doomed. With their escape path cut off, things appear to be the end until the intervention of the mystic Kaguya. Kaguya rescues our three heroes, and through her powers of time travel and going through the memories of people, our heroes with knowledge of the future will go back and save their friends and allies and ultimately change the fate of their doomed world. But is this game any good? Find out in The Good. For the time, I really liked the large cast of characters to choose from. Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate features 145 playable characters, each with their own set of moves. Dynasty Warriors characters are based off their Dynasty Warriors 7 Extreme Legends design, and the Samurai Warrior characters are based off their design in Samurai Warriors 3, as they were the most recent games featuring the cast at the time. Anyone who wasn't in either of those games appear as they did in the last game they appeared in. The game also introduces some new characters with Kaguya, Shuten Doji, and Susanoo, for example, and the game also features quite the cast of guest characters from other franchises. You have Ryu Hayabusa, Momiji, Rachel, Ayane and Kasumi from the Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive series respectively, Achilles from Warriors Legends of Troy, another game I've covered in this channel, Joan of Arc from Bladestorm The 100 Years' War, Stirk from the Arlen series of the Atelier games, Nemia, a key figure from a very obscure Koei Tecmo series known as the Zilol series, with only Trinity Souls of Zilol being released for Western audiences, and as a collaboration with Bandai Namco, Sophitia from the Soul Calibur series in her Soul Calibur 4 appearance. Each character plays differently, with the Samurai Warrior characters having combo strings different depending on which game they debuted in. Characters with ties to Japan also share combo strings similar to Samurai Warriors characters, while characters who are not from Japan will have combo strings similar to Dynasty Warriors characters. I found while combo strings are similar between characters, a critique on the Musou games as a whole, attack animations are not, so it was quite refreshing seeing different moves from different characters. Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate also boasted the largest playable roster at the time, at least until Warriors Orochi 4 with 170, and 4 Ultimate with 177 came along. I really like the gameplay features and modes that Warriors Orochi 3 has to offer. Alongside the story, you can also engage in free mode, which allows you to replay levels as anyone, which you can sort of do in the story anyway after you beat a stage, and Musou battlefields where you can create your own levels or download a created level by another player to enjoy. Additional modes added from Warriors Orochi 3 Hyper and Ultimate are present in this version, such as Duel Mode where you pick a party of 3 as well as 4 cards that can change the effects of your team or the enemies, and you duke it out similar to a fighting game, and Gauntlet Mode, a mode where you pick a team of 5 and go through stages trying to find the exit. Some of these stages themselves are multi-stage, which require you to go through up to 5 stages to complete, with the stages getting more difficult the longer you stay in it. This is, however, the best way to level up characters, get experience, gems, weapons and weapon effects, but it is more time consuming. In regular gameplay, you also have use of true triple attacks where your characters attack the enemies simultaneously, dealing huge amounts of damage. If your characters have formed a strong bond with each other, then the attacks will be even stronger. Characters also have 2 types of actions available, one that can be used on the ground and in the air. These attacks take up a small portion of the Musou gauge, but can be used to interrupt attacks or get out of a dangerous situation. Musou attacks, a staple of the series, return, with the Dynasty Warriors characters having a single strong flashy move, and Samurai Warrior characters having the battlefield slow down while you string up attacks, with special ultimate Musou attacks being done at the end if requirements are met. I found the gameplay enjoyable, despite the common critique about it being repetitive, and the different modes available I personally liked more than the ones available in Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate. The game's story is also one of the things I really enjoyed about it. Uncovering scenarios where you tried to change the past is really cool, and sometimes you'll still come across characters that die in the battle despite your intervention. In order to save those characters, you might need to travel through the memories of someone you've saved to change an event so that they won't perish in the battle you were trying to save them in. This can range from causing a distraction to saving reinforcements, for example. Some memories won't even open up unless the bond levels of certain characters are at certain levels, which encourages you to use the characters you unlock in different teams. The whole time travel, save the past to change the future is something I really like, and personally I like the story of Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate more than Warriors Orochi 4 Ultimate. The Ultimate version of Warriors Orochi 3 even expands the story past the ending, while adding new characters, which is really cool. You can also jump straight into this game without having played the previous entries, as you can get a summary of the events of the previous 2 games in the gallery mode. All of this is of course complemented with the use of Chinese and Japanese instruments and hard rock, heavy metal and techno music that the Warriors series are best known for. Music from both series are used in the game, and other tracks are available through DLC, though unlocked with the Ultimate Definitive Edition. I enjoyed the music so much you can sit me down and play Optic Zone, the character and stage select screen for the story, anytime, and is also the reason I used it for background music in this review. It slaps! Guest characters have arranged versions of music from their respective games, and listening to Ryu Hayabusa's rendition while he's running around Izuna dropping enemies is always a treat. That's what the good has in store for us, so what didn't work out so good? Let's have a look at that in the bad. There's not a lot I can really fault with the game. I did have a couple of instances where the game crashed while performing some of the Samurai Warriors Musou attacks, but these happened pretty rarely and not enough for me to complain about. I have also heard of some visual bugs and frame rate issues, but to be fair, I never came across those in the 100 or so hours I've spent in the game. Admittedly, I did start capturing the footage for this game pretty late, so the possibility it may have been patched is something to consider. Visually, the game does definitely show its age, and it's to be expected from something that originally came out in 2011. But again, that's also pretty minor. I suppose there could have been more guest characters to complement the existing ones, such as having Hector or Penthesilea from Warriors Legends of Troy to go with Achilles, Edward the Black Prince to go with Joan of Arc, or Arius, Dagda and Selene from Trinity Souls of Zul to go with Nemia, for example. Maybe bring some more attention to Koei Tecmo's other games / series to a wider audience, since the Atelier games are pretty popular as they are already. The only other gripe I can think of was during Gauntlet mode. Sometimes you'll come across characters that you can compete against to get more kills. Despite all my best efforts and the fact that my characters are leveled up to be genocide machines, I can never seem to beat them for some reason. Other times I may find a character I might need to stop before they can escape, but they also happen to be right at the escape point, which is also a bit of a nuisance. Thankfully these don't change the overall results of Gauntlet mode, but they are a bit of a pain when you come across them. Other than that, I can't really complain much here, so let's wrap things up with the opinion. Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate Definitive Edition is a very solid game given that the base game is now 11 years old at the time of this review. I like the game's cast of characters, its gameplay features and modes, as well as the story and music. There wasn't a lot I could really fault with the game, and even the stuff I did say about adding additional guest characters to complement the more obscure game/series, and complaining about certain parts of Gauntlet mode was a bit of a stretch admittedly. This version definitely lives up to its name as the Definitive Edition with all the DLC it comes with as well. If the Musou games are your cup of tea, or if you like Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors, this game is definitely one to pick up. While the presentation is certainly a lot cleaner in Warriors Orochi 4 and its Ultimate Edition, as well as having an even larger cast, I do prefer 3 Ultimate from a gameplay perspective, as well as the different game modes available. I also appreciate Koei Tecmo for acknowledging the existence of Warriors Legion of Troy with Achilles' inclusion, and even the obscure Zilla old games with Nemia, even if the latter didn't return for Warriors Orochi 4. This game's release does get me hopeful that maybe, perhaps maybe, Koei Tecmo and Bandai Namco can work on getting a port or definitive edition of Dynasty Warriors Gundam Reborn happening. Now that would be really cool. With that though, it's time for my rating. I would give Warriors Orochi 3 Ultimate Definitive Edition The Divine Mirror out of 10. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review. If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to check out some of our other videos and subscribe for more. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram and our Facebook page. Once again, thank you for watching.